What's up, everybody? This is Joey C from the Brutally Sober podcast, coming at you with my buddy Bobby C. It is July 10th, 2021. It's another Saturday. East Coast meets West Coast. And it's the very special episode today because Joey C went to an AA meeting this morning. Holy shnikes. Uh,
Nikes.
we're going to be talking about that. And first of all, Bobby C, how are you doing today?
Oh, Joey C over there in the East Coast. This is Bobby C. What time is it? It's 1 o'clock, 1:04 over here on the West Coast. My wife just went down to the pool. She's going to meet my daughter down there and my grandson, and they're going to do a little swim in. I'm going to be up here with Joey C, and I'm over here in the West Coast, Huntington Beach, California. And don't forget to subscribe down there. Check our podcast out. Today we're going to, it's a special occasion. Joey C gets back to a meeting, because I don't know, Joey could tell you how long it's been. It's been like a year almost. And me and Joey been doing this thing. He's been doing his own thing. So we're just going to check out some things. I'm going to ask Joey some questions. He's going to tell me a little bit about the format of the meeting he went to and what he got out of it, some pros and cons. And we're just going to have some fun today. So back to you, Joey.
Yeah, we're just gonna have some fun. We're gonna riff. I'm gonna tell you how it went down this morning. So, yeah, I just yeah, it's been about 14 months since I last been to a meeting, and I think the last meeting I was at was the meeting I went to this morning, and it's a good meeting. I like it. I was worried about having to be like inside and with my mask on and just being uncomfortable and stuff like that, but I pulled up and there was a bunch of chairs set up outside. I was like, oh, nice. It's going to be an outside meeting. There was chairs in one section, and then 50 yards down, there was chairs in another section. So they had two meetings going on. They had a step meeting and a beginner's meeting. So I went to the beginner's meeting. And then after everybody came up to me and they were like, oh, you're from the Alcoholics Anonymous Deprogramming podcast and you do the Brutally Sober podcast, right? I was like, yeah, I was like, keep it down a little bit. I'm just here, I'm just a regular, I'll take pictures with you afterwards or something like that. After I got all that out of the way, I took my seat and I was sat in the back and I was there early, like I got there like 8:15. It started at 8:30. And so, of course, my thing is I always am concerned about people thinking that I'm a new guy. And anytime someone they don't recognize me, like I feel like they're looking at me like I'm the new guy or like I'm the guy that they're going to save or something like that. And I just like, no, just whatever you're going to do, just don't do it. Just say hi to me and just don't try and sponsor me or nothing like that. So
Let me go back and forth. Well, let me go back and let me tip on that because I used to get that. I don't care how much time you got. If I go to a different meeting, I used to go to a different meeting, maybe in a different state because I used to travel. Maybe I'd be in Florida. I could be in California. I could be in Arizona. I'd go into a meeting. I'd get the same thing. I would get the same thing, so I can relate to that, oh, are you new here? This is your new meeting, welcome and stuff like that. So I can relate to that. So go ahead, Joey. I'm gonna just bounce back and forth and kind of see if I can relate to the things that you're talking about, right now. So go
good.
ahead.
Yeah, just stop me anytime. And so the group leader or whatever you call it, who I met like 100 times. I have his number in my phone. He comes up to me, introduces himself. I'm like, dude, I know who the hell you are. We met like 100 times. But he's like, hey, because he thinks I'm a new guy. You want to read the what is AA? So he hands me the laminated paper, and I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll read that. So he starts up the meeting, and so the readings were what is AA, which I read, which talks about no outside issues and stuff like that. I don't have it memorized. I can't tell you exactly what it is. And then another guy read the promises. So it was a beginners meeting and there was no topic. It was just everyone under a year could share whatever was going on with them, you know, that morning, anything at all. So there was no topic. Um, and there was there's there was one woman who was talking about how she said in a meeting that she was having a good day, and how someone else told her, "Be careful, you're just on your pink cloud. You're gonna drop from that pink cloud," and how that affected her, and how she had to tell her sponsor about it. And there was no resolution there. She was just sharing about that, and that was nice to hear because that kind of pissed her off, and that was something that pissed me off. I heard that a lot. Anytime anyone said, "Hey, how you doing?" um, whether they really wanted to know how I was doing or not, I anytime I said I was doing good, I was sincerely doing good. And then they'd say, "Whoa, be careful, buddy. You're on that pink cloud everyone talks about. You could drop in a second. You got to be careful. Don't be too happy. Don't be too sad. All right, you got to have a fucking even plateau of emotionless being or something." I don't know. That was just something that always pissed me off. So I was out. That was a nice thing to hear. I really liked hearing that she heard that and she was able to say that it bothered her. And then there was a guy. This is another refreshing thing. A guy from he was from the UK, so maybe they don't care about offending anyone. He was talking about how where he's at is he just doesn't believe in God. He doesn't believe in a higher power, and that everything is within him. He said everything is inside of me. I don't believe in God. I say he straight up said, he said, "I know this is not what people like to hear, but that's where I'm at." And he didn't have a problem saying it. And the leader of the group said, "Thank you for your honesty." So that was good to hear because he didn't care. Um, I'm assuming that he assumes everyone else has a religious God that they look up to, and he probably just has another definition of God. Maybe it's not that he doesn't believe in God; it's just another definition of God. Um, what else? Oh, then there's the standard loudmouth, standard loudmouth guy who's at every meeting. He's at a bunch of meetings. I see him all over the place, and his mo is to be rough around the edges and tell it like it is. But he's just a he's just a dick, and he just I I had to like I had to practice patience just listening to him because he's so arrogant. And so he waits till like the very end of the meeting to go off on a rant when he didn't even know if all the other people with less than a year shared yet. And then he goes off on this rant, just totally angry. It's like, if you're working a program and you've been around here so long, why are you so angry? What are you so angry about? So he shares, and then he just walks away. He just walks away and does something else. Goes inside and just pretends he's cleaning up or something like that. And it's like, you go off on this rant and then you don't even have the decency to sit and listen to the next person about what they want to say. Um, I'm on a rant here, Bobby. See, you can stop me whenever you need to.
Well, let me just chime in there. So, let's see. You went to the pink cloud. That's a typical parroting response with the pink cloud shit. Don't have a good day because you're going to screw up. Don't have easy sobriety or easy life. Don't have an easy life. Don't make this thing too simple. And if you're enjoying yourself, you're going to fuck up sooner or later.
Yeah.
That's typical. I mean, we've all heard that. People that left AA that are planning on exiting AA, or people that are still in Alcoholics Anonymous and go to other different meetings, maybe SMART or different other types of recovery Dharma or something like that. You get tired of hearing that stuff after a while. And then you got the guy with some time. He's in a beginners meeting. I mean, he's got to show the beginners that he's got a lot of time, or she's got a lot of time, and they mouth off like that. I mean, all this shit is typical in so many. I've been to thousands of meetings, so many damn meetings, so it's typical. And then the gal sharing and discounting her feelings, whatever they are at that moment, because what the frig, we all know that all we have is right now at this moment. So shit, if I can feel a little happiness, even me today, to get a little happiness in my life, I mean, don't discount it. When I see my daughter sad or whatever, and if she says she's happy today and she's smiling, man, I'd love that. I'm going to embrace that. I'm going to say, wow, cool. That's it. You got that, feeling good. Because happiness is overrated anyhow. Everybody makes this thing that they use the word happy. Like when I was leaving for the gym today, my daughter said to me, have fun. Fun. I don't even know what the frig fun is anymore at my age. For me to grab some friggin' fun, people say, you having fun? Go ahead, Joe.
I got to stop you there and bust your chops, because I don't think you do know what having fun is. Your wife just went out poolside, okay, laying by the pool. You're inside with the blinds closed, talking to Joey C from over on the East Coast about an AA meeting in New Jersey. You don't know what fun is, Bobby. I got to think you're right about that.
Here's yesterday. Yesterday I was at the beach all day. Okay, then I went to the pool. See, you're taking snips of things, how we see things, and we're taking it, and we know. Oh, he knows Bobby C. All of a sudden, he knows everything about fun. Don't we do that shit all the time? I'll be down there at the pool. That blind shut because I friggin' open that. You can't even see me. So fun is overrated. I wish I could have a little more fun. Going down to the beach, is that fun? Sometimes bringing them the umbrellas and carrying them chairs and shit. Relaxing. I like to relax. But getting back to that, the girl needs some validation. Hey, you know what? You feel good today? You're having a great day? Beautiful. Yeah. You might get this shit better than somebody else that's got 30 years in and they're still friggin' miserable. So don't discount my shit right now. So I agree with that. And then the other guy, we don't have to mention where they're from or anything. The other guy, I see that a lot. I was so glad to see atheist in the program. I used to have this old guy at this one meeting. He didn't believe in God at all. He didn't believe in any of the prayers or none of that crap. And he had like 30 years sober. He was trying to live the best life he could. He was trying to live a good life just like anybody else, with a God or without a God. But yeah, on those 3 points, I can relate to them, And so the format, you had a couple readings. What'd you have? You had 2 readings, right? So getting back to like all the podcasts that we have done. So what have you seen in those 2 readings? What did you sense out of that, or did you even listen to them?
I was actually, I couldn't even hear the promises. I don't even remember what they are. I had to just look them up earlier before I forgot them again. The guy was reading the promises. I could barely hear him. I couldn't hear some people because it was outside and there was a main road right over here. So sometimes it was hard to hear people. I read What is AA, and that was just, I didn't have a problem reading it. That's fine. I can't even remember. I can't even remember what I read, but I guess that's what they do. They read. Maybe they switch it up every now and then. I'm not sure, but the guy passed out What is AA and the promises. So
what was the format in the discussion? Did it go around? People raise their hand. People just talk when they want to. Did the chairman pick on people?
Yeah, he just opened it up. In the beginning, he said, "This is for newcomers. Anybody with a year or less who wants to share. This is your meeting, so you can share." And there wasn't a lot of silence in between people sharing. There was about 10 out of 30 people there who were newcomers, so they pretty much all shared. And there was no topic. He just said, you know, this is a newcomer meeting. Whatever's on your mind, whatever you want to talk about, whatever you want to get off your chest, uh, just just raise your hand. So
Now, was it an hour and a half meeting or an hour meeting over there in Jersey?
it is an hour.
Okay, over here in California, we have an hour and a half. Well, when I used to go, they were hour and a half meetings. So you had an hour meeting,
Hmm.
and the attendance was pretty good. Now it's outside; the meetings are open, so the attendance was pretty good. And they had two meetings. You had a beginners meeting, and then they had a step meeting, and you chose the beginners meeting.
Hmm.
Did they have a literature person to give a literature thing before the meeting ended?
No,
No. Well, you were outside, so you really didn't. Did you have a table set up with the literature and all that books on
no,
it and everything?
no. Maybe there was one inside, but I didn't see it.
Okay, so they're not back in yet, so the meetings are kind of little different than when it's in the building, which is good. So you overall, did you have a? How did you leave the meeting overall? Did you feel more uplifting? Did you feel good? What was some feeling that you might have had when you went there, during it, and when you left it?
Um, when I
Some
got there,
feelings.
I was excited to be back, to be able to sit in a meeting, and then I was nervous because I didn't want people coming up to me and asking me, like, if I ran into someone I knew, then they'd ask me where I was, and then I'd have to say, oh yeah, I haven't gone to a meeting, and then I'd be like, you know, I'm coming up on 2 years, I haven't been to a meeting in a year, and they probably wouldn't believe me or something like that. And I didn't want to. I probably put off the vibe that I look like a new guy, because I don't want to be seen as a new guy, so that I get worried about that. But I like,
Just to touch base on that's a little bit of fear, guilt, and shame in a sense that I think that a lot of us or most of us go through with all kinds of little feelings, all kinds of things like you were just sharing, and like, oh, I didn't go to a meeting for a year and a half, and I'm still
yeah,
sober, so I have to feel guilty about that
yeah,
because fuck, you guys went to a meeting twice a day and stayed
right,
sober, but how in the hell am I doing it? So something's wrong with me.
right,
Something's got to be wrong with me because I'm really not getting it the way you're getting it.
right.
So so it's almost a sense of something's wrong with me, or maybe you know, can you relate to that a little bit or not?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I appreciate you pointing that out, because that just went right over my head. I mean, I just explained to you exactly what I did and what I was feeling, and you broke it down to me like that. I mean, I didn't even realize it just went right over my head. So I mean, that's exactly what you said, is exactly what it was. So yeah.
Go ahead then, talk about some more feelings during the meetings.
So then, I was sitting down, and I I like to be in a meeting because I'm actually just sitting in a chair with no phone for an hour, listening to someone, and just naturally sitting, and not knowing that I'm not going to get up or be distracted. I'm just sitting, and I'm just listening. Is a meditative experience, whether what I'm hearing is what I agree with or not. I'm just sitting. So that alone, I like doing it because it forces me to sit for an hour. Um, and then I hear people talk about stuff that I think they're full of shit. And
Okay, let me stop you right there because if you go any further, my mind will just leave it. It'll just go whatever I'm thinking of. It'll just leave. So so the feelings of what are the feelings like when people are talking? So you just got done saying something. Are you judging some people as they're talking?
yes,
Okay, that's for the newcomer or somebody that's ready to leave or coming in off out of a rehab, or your parents are sending you Alcoholics Anonymous. That's normal shit. Okay, me sitting there judging people talking is friggin' normal, and they'll make us feel guilty. Like, oh, are you judging? Are you judging somebody else's program or somebody else's shit? We Most of us do that. We're judging as we're hearing, and we're judging. Judging is good. Okay, so I'm hearing some things that I like, and I'm hearing some things that I don't like. Okay, but getting back to Joey's talking about meditation. So Joey was sitting in a meeting where we're sitting right now. Joey's listening to me right this moment. So he's meditating. He's giving his attention to my voice. So he's in a form of meditation in himself. So he enjoyed sitting there, which I like sitting at different types of places and listening if I'm interested. And it is a form of meditation. So that's a good point you brought up, Joey.
Thanks, Bobby. So, uh, yeah, so there's a lot of stuff. Actually, to be honest with you, there wasn't a lot of stuff that um, I was like being a judgmental prick about because I didn't like what they were saying. It was really just the guy who wanted to be the old timer AA know it all, rough around the edges guy. Was really the only guy that I was judging, and that bothered me. And then it was nice for me to feel afterwards, after I judged him, and after I'm like, while I'm listening to him, I'm wanting to like shake my head, and so other people see me shake my head, so that they can know that I think he's an asshole, which I don't. I just sit there and I breathe and I listen, and then after all that passes, I'm like, yeah, that's just this guy. That's just who this guy is, where he is, how he wants to be perceived, how he wants to be heard. That's all his own bullshit. If he wants to be that guy, I don't give a fuck. He could be that guy, and I don't have to talk to him because I don't I don't like him. I do think he's full of shit, but that's okay. I don't have to. I could be around him and not have to talk to him. I don't really care. So it
Uh,
didn't affect me
okay,
physically
so
or anything.
uh, okay, but let's be honest now, because I do get affected by people like that. It disturbs my body. I have a disturbance inside my body when it's
Right.
going on. Okay, I can't deny that. Okay, and if somebody else has this disturbance, it's normal. Okay, you don't have to deny it. The guy's bugging the shit out of you because he's saying shit that make people will say, oh, he's saying stuff that is bringing up this. No, he's saying shit you don't really like. Okay, I'm not talking about you, Joey. I'm just talking about the viewers if they're in a meeting. When people disturb me, I get this disturbance in my body. My body starts to move around. I get nervous. I get like jittery inside, and I get this shit, and I am judging and taking his inventory, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, and that's okay. But then I can, like Joey said, he let it go. Okay, so he let it go. He did. That's the form of letting go. Now we don't have to deny that the guy was jerking my chain, and yes, I have the response. It's me that's being jerked. He's jerking it, but really it's me. Okay, so I'm the disturbance. So how do I calm down the disturbance? What Joey just said, he let it go. He kind of refocused and said, ah, this guy's just talking. He's a human being. Let him go. So he let him go. But so we have the opportunity and the talent and the master. So Joey's actually talking about mastering his emotion in a sense, where I don't have to have that guy screw up my whole friggin' meeting or walk the fuck out on him, which some people do. Okay. I've had friends of mine with 30 years in the program get up and walk the frig out of the meeting because they didn't like somebody was talking and the shit they were saying. Okay. Like I said, I've been to so many meetings. I've seen so much stuff go on. But so Joey's learning some things. He's listening to shit, taking some inventory, personal inventory to the guy. He's judging him a little bit, but then he's letting it go and saying that guy's a human being. And that's cool. That's really good. That's very good. Sorry to mess you up on that, Joe. Go ahead. Get
No,
back.
no, thank you. And so yeah, everything you just said is absolutely true. And afterwards, when I realized that, because there is that physical agitation you feel from an outside source, and once you are able to let that go, and then you realize you just let it go, well, I just I just did that. I could never do that before. I I maybe would let it stay in here for the rest of the day, like you said. I just released it. It's actually easy for me to do now. I mean, in that situation it was, but I know how
Okay,
to
let me ask you a question. Who or what do you attribute that to?
me.
Totally. Taking responsibility for it and giving yourself credit for it.
Yes.
Good. Okay, so I want the viewers to hear that and understand it. You know, we have to start taking responsibility for what we do, our actions, good and bad. You know, everybody wants to give all the credit to, I'm God or AA or this book or that thing or whatever, when it's actually, Joey's been out of a meeting for over a year now, and we've been doing some podcasts together. He's been doing some research and studying on his self. He's creating his own program. That's what we're talking about here. Joey's going back to meetings, but he's still creating his own program, which this podcast is all about, really. Back to you, Joey.
Yeah. Yeah. So I so my thoughts afterwards, after the meeting, is I feel good. There was some people that were new, and they shared some cool things. They were vulnerable, and they were honest, and they were open, and it was a nice connection to have with. It's just nice to be around someone who is not, you know they don't they're not walking around with that, mask on that they talk about, and they're being totally open with other people, and that's a refreshing thing to be around. But after the meeting, I I don't need to go back to another one tomorrow. I don't, because I heard other people. Everyone's like, oh well, which meeting are you gonna hit tomorrow? You're gonna hit one. You're gonna hit one tomorrow morning, and yeah, I'll probably hit one tomorrow night and stuff like that. And I think that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that if that's what they enjoy doing. Because I think some of them probably do just enjoy it because they see their friends and stuff or whatever. I don't really care, but I don't feel the need to go back tomorrow or tomorrow morning. I will go back. Maybe I'll go to another one. Maybe I'll go to the same one next Saturday. But the majority of the general population is, in my opinion, just their followers. They're people that listen to the TV and the news and let the TV and the news tell them what they're supposed to think and do. And that percentage of the general population transfers to AA. So there's going to be a certain percentage of people in AA, which I think is the majority of their followers. They do what they're told, and that's just, I don't know what else. I don't know what I can do about that besides, maybe share what I'm sharing right now. Maybe I can share with some people that look like they want me to share with them while I'm at a meeting. If I think what they're saying is bullshit, I really don't know. But there's a certain percentage of the population that just they're followers, and it transfers over to AA. So there's just gonna be people in there. I go into AA with um I try to go into AA meetings without blinders and with a broader knowledge of what AA is all about. I don't claim to know everything there is to know about AA and the history of AA. Um, I like to read and learn about that because I'm just genuinely interested in it. Um, if someone, I was thinking about it the other day, if someone asked me what my hobbies were, one of the hobbies would be, and I was thinking to myself, I would sound like such a nerd if someone asked me this question and I answered it honestly. I said, well, I enjoy reading about the history of AA, and that would be an honest answer about one of my hobbies. And I'm just interested in it. I just think it's interesting. So I'm lucky that I think it's interesting because I have this broader scope of it now when I go into a meeting. Other people don't have that, and I think that's okay sometimes, but to simplify my AA experience is sitting in a chair and listening to other people who are staying sober today. That's how I go into a meeting. And if I go into a meeting where my attention is going to all of the things that I don't like about AA, that's where my energy is going to go. If I go into a meeting with the attention of I'm sitting in a chair and I'm listening to people talk about things that I can relate to, that's where my energy goes. So that's where I was at today. That's where I'm at now, and maybe I'll hit a meeting midweek. Maybe I'll hit a meeting in 2 weeks from now. But either way, I'm going to be okay. But it was overall it was a good experience.
Well, that's great, Joey. I've been waiting for you to go back and kind of get here's the message I like to give the viewer, which this is Alcoholics Anonymous Deprogramming Podcast. Okay. And we're going to title Alcoholics Anonymous Deprogramming Podcast. And this is Joey C's first day back to an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting. Here's the message I like to give the viewers. There's no AA police. Okay. Screw guilt, shame, and fear for the newcomer or the person that's been in there and still dealing with guilt, shame, and fear. Screw it. Okay. There's no AA police. If you want to go into an AA meeting and not raise your hand and say, I am an alcoholic, you don't have to. All you do is say pass. Okay. No one has to tell you that you have to say you declare yourself alcoholic or not. And I'm saying this to you because it's okay. Maybe other people say it's not okay, but I'm telling you through the years that it's okay to not declare yourself alcoholic. Just pass. Say, my name's Bobby and I pass. No one's going to come up to you and say, oh, why are you saying pass? Why you don't? And if they do, just say, that's my business. Okay. And here's another tip. If you don't have a sponsor, Joey says he has a sponsor. I don't know if he does or not, but if you don't have a sponsor, don't worry about it. Okay. Don't make a big deal out of it, because most people get sponsors because they're told they have to, and they get one so they don't have to feel guilty about not having one. So if you're feeling that way, don't. Okay. Because you don't need a sponsor. Or you get a friend, get a couple like-minded friends that don't bully you around and don't tell you what you got to do and kind of are trying to live some type of spiritual life or some type of positive life that they want to improve. Surround yourself with some people. Here's another tip I'm going to say for the Deprogramming Podcast. Check other things out. Go to a smart recovery meeting. Go sit at one and just check it out. Go read a little book on recovery dharma. Just check out the philosophy of recovery dharma. Go read another book. Go get a spiritual book. Go check something out and expand your consciousness. This is a deprogramming podcast, so you don't have to go in there and feel guilty. So you don't have to parrot everything, because Joey mentioned this. He said that most people are going to go in there and they're going to parrot and they're going to follow. You don't have to be a follower. They tell you that you don't have to be unique, that you forget this uniqueness stuff. You are unique. Okay. We're all unique in ourselves. All right. So here's another little tip. AA doesn't have to tell you what your purpose in life is. You create your own purpose. Okay. If you don't want to go around helping alcoholics all day long, that doesn't have to be your purpose. That's Alcoholics Anonymous purpose. That doesn't have to be your purpose. So I'm going to be giving little tips out to people so they don't have to have this guilt, shame, and fear, so they can understand the feelings that Joey and I went through or go through in meetings. They're normal. Okay. You're not like an asshole, and you're not going to go out and go to jail, an institution, and die if you don't do some of this stuff. Now, I'm not saying, the best way to stay sober, I would imagine, would be don't pick up a drink if you want abstinence. Okay. So that kind of makes logical sense, rational, logical sense, right? But if you believe in moderation, you want to go out and try some, go ahead. More power to you. And if you can do it, that's great too. But we're going to just give out some tips to people that are being sent to Alcoholics Anonymous that know nothing about it. people being sent from rehab. First of all, they're sober and they're going into Alcoholics Anonymous sober. People that are sent by the parents or by the judges or by the court system and said they're alcoholics and they're sending them to Alcoholics Anonymous. So we're talking about a lot of different varieties of people. So that's all my spin on that, Joey. What else you got to share?
Let's see.
Oh, how did that feel? Somebody actually knew you from this podcast. That's amazing. That's crazy.
Well, I tell you what, I'm getting used to it by now because sometimes it happens at Stop and Shop or something like that. I'm at the grocery store, but it hasn't happened to me when I've been at a meeting yet because I haven't been to a meeting in so long. So, I was very humbled by it.
Well, that means that people are listening to the podcast, probably, maybe, hopefully, if you haven't subscribed to the Alcoholics Anonymous Deprogramming podcast. And Joey puts this out on Anchor. You can listen to it. You can pause this anytime you want. If you don't like what I'm saying, pause me and then wait till Joey talks, or, pause it when you're just taking a break or got to go to the bathroom or something. But we're not here to hurt anyone. We're here to help people expand their consciousness, expand their awareness. Because I know Joey, when he went back in that meeting, his awareness had to be a little greater than it was prior to doing all these podcasts. It had to be just a little bit. So he must have a little more questioning, a little more awareness. He must be observing some more things that are going on that maybe possibly he wouldn't observe or became aware of before all these deprogramming podcasts. So I don't know, something you could say to the viewers about that, Joey?
Yeah, I definitely felt the way you just explained how I have a different perception going back after doing all these podcasts and after doing all this research and just kind of finding my own program and coming up on 2 years without a drink and doing that. A big part of those 2 years was without AA. But I still have respect for AA, and I still do not like a lot of things about AA. So coming back to that meeting, I'm like, I'm 2 years sober, Joe. I don't need AA. I'm just kind of here just to see everybody else and stuff like that. I had to give myself an ego check. All right, I'm not gonna lie about my ego being a little bit kind of like, yeah, I'm a little bit better than you guys because you don't. I really know what AA is all about. You guys really don't. All right, you guys don't know any of that. I know what AA is all about. I've been sober for 2 years. I don't really have to go to AA. I'm just coming here because because I'm taking what I want and I'm leaving the rest. That's me. All right. So I don't think I'm better than anyone else at any AA meeting or anything like that. Just because I talk shit about AA a lot and I don't go to meetings a lot. But I'm not gonna bullshit you. I will say that I think I had to. I think at one point I was sitting back there feeling slightly superior than other people. Like I had more knowledge about being sober or something like that.
So what's wrong with that? Is there actually something wrong with that?
I don't know. I just felt
See,
like
that's exactly. Here's a message to the viewers. Okay, what Joey's talking about is this shit. When we're talking about, that's why I couldn't wait till Joey go back to the meetings, because of these feelings that people. We deny ourselves. We don't even know we're going through this shit. We're going through these feelings, and we feel alone because we don't share some of these feelings. We feel alone. Hey, look, if I went to an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting today, if I left after this meeting and went to, I would feel so shitty. I couldn't stand it. I'd probably sit through it, but I'd say to myself, what the fuck am I here for again? You know what I mean? That's me. Now, Joey's not where I am. And I'm not no better place. It's just that he's not where I am. That's all. Okay. And that doesn't make me better than Joey. And as far as knowledge, what the hell's wrong with that? If I have some more knowledge about different types of programs and recovery, and I have some more knowledge that I found out, if I found out some things about myself, the Society of Alcoholics Anonymous, the world, and the universe, is there something wrong with? No, there's nothing wrong with that. So maybe I do have some more knowledge than other people. But I'll tell you this, other people have so much more knowledge than me. Okay? I'm stupid compared to other people. You can, and they'll call me stupid. They'll say, Bobby, you're dumb. You're stupid and you're ignorant. And they'll tell me that. And guess what? They're probably right. All right? So I can't deny myself certain things, and then I can't deny myself other things. Is it the ego? I don't know. Or is it just what it is? You know? So I'm not going to go into an AA meeting and shouting out, oh, I know more than you. I just won't go because I know what the fuck it'll do to me. Okay? So am I smarter than somebody else? No, that's just me. I just found out some things that make me feel better, you know? I couldn't take it. It would actually, I would, you know what? There was meetings many times that I'd be in a meeting and I felt that I did not fit in. Many times. I just said to myself, what am I doing here? I don't fit in. Everybody's got to remember, I'm talking 37 years ago when there wasn't no other alternatives. And I'd sit in that meetings and look at myself and say to myself, I could look in the mirror and say, what the hell am I doing here? But I had to go because I felt guilty and I felt shamed and I had no other choice, that I had to go because I didn't want to die. I didn't want to become the person that I was and treat my wife and my family like I did when I was using, you know. So I don't have that guilt. I don't have that shame. I don't have that fear today that I did have. And you know what? I sit in a meeting. If I sat in a meeting, I'd say I don't belong there. And that's the truth. I really don't belong to an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting. And there's a lot of people thinking that they got to come back to the meeting. They got to come back to the meeting unless they're going to drink and drug again. Well, if that's what you believe, that's what's probably going to happen. You know, whatever the mind can conceive and believe, we will achieve. I mean, that's a fact. That's called natural law. There's certain things in the universe that are laws. Okay, like the law of cause and effect. Joey says wherever attention goes, the energy flows. Okay, so if you're sitting in a meeting and you believe that Alcoholics Anonymous is the best thing for you, that's what you want to believe. Okay, because it's not the meeting, it's the belief system, it's the brain, it's the mind that's creating it. Okay, so everybody wants to give credit to Alcoholics Anonymous, NA, 12 steps. You want to give credit to Dharma, SMART, Freedom Model. You want to give credit to this program or that book or that. Go ahead. But actually, I'm here to tell you, it's not coming from any of that shit. It's coming from you. Okay? We create our own programs no matter how you cut it. They don't want you to believe that. They don't want you to know that. Once you start knowing that, now I'm not talking about not being motivated, because here's the key. It's not being motivated that's the key. We can go into meetings. We can go into Anthony Robbins. We can go into Eckhart Tolle's. We can go into Osha's. We can go into and we can be motivated. Okay, that's not where it's at, ladies and gentlemen. Here's where it's at. It's being self-motivated. Self-motivated, where you do it because you want to and you're motivating yourself. Okay, we all have that power. Joey talked about that a couple of weeks ago. He's talking about the superpower. We have that superpower to have the ability to be able to do that. And that's really my message that I like to share. And I'm not discounting the help, because the help is a pointer to a way, you know. But most of these laws they're not man-made laws. Most of these cause and effect karma laws, they're universal laws. It's a natural law, you know. And I'm here to maybe pass a little bit of that on. Maybe not. Maybe I'm just here to validate the shit that I want to hear to myself, you know, and bounce it off. But all I know is Joey here next to me is helping me, because I get energized when I come on this thing. I'm looking forward to this. I'm like energy. Well, will I make it if Joey says, "Nah, we don't want to do this shit anymore"? Yeah, I'll make it. I'll find another way because I have to have self motivation to further myself. Okay, and that's a key. Like I look at certain people, like, you know, I don't want to say names, but I look at people, and they don't have that, and it's like sometimes we want to help them and we want to do it for them. We can't do it for. I mean, we can inspire them, we can give them, you know, boosters and inspire people. And inspire means in spirit. We can get into their spirit, but we can't stay into their spirit. It's got to come from them out, you know. And you could tell who's motivated and who's not motivated. You know, you could tell. And sometimes it's sad to see that I have to be self motivated a lot, a lot. Okay, um, because people think that human beings don't still have the greed. I still feel greedy. I mean, not greed, jealousy, anger, the feeling of a depressed feeling. That's not who I am, but these feelings come and these feelings go. I still get all those types of feelings, but they don't stay with me. Like Joey said, he was taking the guy's inventory and he let it go. Okay, so we're here to let you know that you could take stuff and then let it go. You know, but the flow is going to flow. It's still going to flow in your mind. You're going to have these thoughts. You're going to have these emotions. You're going to have these feelings. Okay, they're natural. You know, it's a natural occurrence of all human beings. Some people want to think that they don't have none of that shit because they don't want to be honest. Okay, with themselves. They only want to talk about positive thinking. Well, look, I have to understand the negative and the positive because it's all one. It's like, you know, you have to understand the negative and the positive. So I check out the negative stuff in the world, negative stuff about AA, negative stuff about all different things, and the positive stuff. Okay. So, Joey, I'm so glad you went back to a meeting. I'm glad you got something out of it, and you've expressed the best you could. And I think you did an excellent job expressing uh, what you felt at these meetings, and you know, it sounds like you got something out of it, and that's a good deal. So we're talking about the pros and cons, and maybe I'm a little more con than Joey is, but that's okay. We're not all the same, and we're going to Joey's going to help a bunch of people, and hopefully I'll help some people, and together people can take a little bit of Joey, a little bit of me, put it together and make their own and create their own program, which we're doing anyhow. Back
That's
to you, my man.
that's right. We are kind of the perfect recipe. I got to tell you. And thank you, Bobby C, for uh, shedding light on a few things that I was saying when I was explaining my experience going into the meeting that that I didn't even realize. I was telling you exactly what I was going through, my feelings, exactly what I was going through, and you shed a light just from a different angle. And I was like, oh yeah, that's exactly what's going on. So I really had fun talking with you this Saturday, like I always do. And yeah, thank you for shedding light on a couple of things for me. And all the people that have subscribed to this channel, there we got a bunch of people subscribed. Thank you so much for subscribing. Thank you for listening to us. It means a lot. And like Bobby C said, if you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe now. And we'll see you guys next Saturday.
And check us out. We'll just go back and forth. To check me out at Anonymous Addiction, at My Truth About AA, as Bobby C sees it. And one day Joey will go to as Bill sees it, book reading, and he'll understand exactly where the hell I'm coming from with this as Bobby C sees it. It's just a spin off of that. Check us out, Joey. Tell the people how many different octopuses you got out there.
I got one tentacle on Instagram. You can check me out at Brutsob on Instagram. I got another tentacle at Twitter, Brutsob at Twitter. I got a tentacle on Anchor FM called the Brutally Sober podcast. You can find on Spotify, Apple, and wherever else you listen to podcasts. And I got another tentacle right here at the Alcoholics Anonymous Deprogramming podcast with Bobby C. Bobby C's got a few tentacles. You didn't mention your group, Facebook group, did you?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, anonymous addiction. Let's give a shout out. Give a shout out to Andy. Andy, the gal over there at the, give her a little shout out.
Yes.
Podcast.
If you guys haven't heard of Andy Scarantino, please listen to her podcast. It's called the Get the Fuck Off podcast. It's on Spotify. I know that it's on Spotify. She's on Instagram. I imagine you can find her podcast pretty much anywhere because she's got a lot of listeners. And I spoke with her. I was on her podcast, and she helped me tremendously. And I really enjoyed talking to her. She's extremely knowledgeable, and she's a no bullshit kind of person. And please listen to her if you hasn't. She's got a great podcast.
Yeah, Andy, and thank you. I hope I did a podcast too with Andy, and she's a hell of a gal. Here's a living example. Living example. Working your own program, creating your own program. She's a mindset coach, a mindfulness coach, and she's just got the energy. She's got what it takes to help other people. And she's not using any AA program, smart recovery program. She's creating her own deal, which is living proof of what we're talking about here. So shout out to you, and check her out. She's over there in the East. I think she's over there in the East Coast. Get the fuck off. Get off your couch. Get off whatever you're doing. Get off the cigs. Get off the booze. Get off. She's going to help you. So check her out.
All right, everybody. If you're so inclined, you can leave a comment below or message us after you've listened to this podcast, and you can't wait till next week to see our lovely faces again. Just shoot us a message, and I'm always checking in on everything. And we can have a little midweek conversation or something like that. Our messages are always open. You can always slide right in, as they say, and we'll have a nice chat if you're feeling motivated to have an inspiring conversation. If you're feeling down in the dumps and you need somebody to talk to, shoot us a message. We'll see you guys next week. I hope everyone has a great week.
Take care, everyone.